Professor Karine Nahon. Tell us what you do first, and then I'll ask you what brought you here.
Okay, on daily basis?
Yeah, what do you do in civilian life?
My civilian life, I'm a professor of information science. I deal with challenges in democracy and the way that the information society creates those challenges to democracy, to government, etc. And I'm also part of the leaders of the protest in the last 9 months. So, in fact, the last year was very hectic.
Do you think there's a connection between what was going on in this country and the disunity for 9 months at least before October 7th and what happened on October 7th?
So, we try to warn the government and different stakeholders for 9 months, in fact, that different decision making are going to hurt Israel. But the fact that Israel became weaker because of, I would say, the cleavages inside, and because the different decision making, including the government, pushed forward with a very dangerous, I would say, regime coup, that by itself created the right opportunity for the terrorists, for the Hamas, to basically take a lead and start.
Do you think they chose the date because they had a perception that Israel was not
I don't think they chose the
unified?
Specific date, but I do think, well, first of all, they planned it a year before, but I do think that the whole time, the context itself gave them, a kind of a push forward to go and say, let's try it now. Mm-hmm. What they didn't take into consideration is that the Jewish people and the Israeli people, once you have such a catastrophic kind of event, we all united in order to basically overcome this challenge.
So you moved from protest overnight to working to unify the country through addressing needs that you saw, tremendous needs that were happening. What specialty, what expertise could you bring to the equation?
So, it's very interesting that you're saying what expertise is if we planned it. So we met on a Zoom on Saturday. The hours after we started to hear that something was going on, we didn't understand the magnitude of this event. And we said, okay, we need to help wherever we can. And here I was, we were 5 people, some people took, let's help with food, let's help with taking care of and evacuate people, etc., etc. And people looked at me and I said, okay, let's help with missing people and hostages. What I didn't know is that really almost a half day after, I was with hundreds of people, and the day after with thousands and 1,500 people that basically we were creating an interdisciplinary space in order to understand the status of missing people and hostages.
What did you bring to the table? Did you feel you had some kind of special experience or skill or expertise that you could bring to that?
Bringing my information science expertise. I didn't understand at that time that I'm bringing everything together, but that would help. And in fact, we had people coming from technology, people coming from social media, people coming from information science, people coming that just want to volunteer and do whatever I can tell them to do. And after 2 days, we became the hub of information for the main hub of information for the security forces, for government agencies. And a week ago, we basically gave the data to the security forces with the algorithms and all the stuff and passed them the torch back to them.
All the people who came and volunteered, did they drop what they were doing in their civilian life and they spent all their time volunteering on this?
People who came to my war room basically were working from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night and even further. We didn't have hours for ourselves, basically whole month focusing on this.
And that's you as well?
Of course, we were there all the time. I had 2 other people who were co-managing with me, Dani Chalutz, who was the chief of staff in Israel, the former one, and Ari Ariel from Brother and Sisters of Arms. And together, basically, we operated the whole war room to find information.
So tell us about that. How did you find information? Where do we stand now?
So, the first thing that you have to ask yourself, how do you create a list? Like the day after you come, you're trying to understand that you need to find missing people. Where do you start? How do you know who was in this geographic unit? And to start with creating the list, to understand that this is the list and from this you are funneling down, that was not an easy task. So we started with 10,000 people. The people who in the party in the Nova was 4,000 people. There was another party, a smaller party. We started creating a list from the different, I would say cities and kibbutzim.
A missing person is somebody, some family member who reports, where is my beloved, or where is my friend, or where is my child?
So it's another good question. Let's say that nobody reports, but you know that that person was there. How do you know that that person was there? Either you saw videos in social networks. So that's the second thing that we did. We created a website that basically called the public to give us information. And that was our strength and agility as opposed to the government, right? We got a lot of information from the public. At that time, because there was no man's land in the South, people were basically filming. You know, you walked through corpse, you saw people who were injured, you basically videoed it.
So the information that you got included, oh, my friend so-and-so, she was at the Nova party, or I know this person was on Kibbutz Be'eri.
Or you get a harsh video saying, I don't know who's there, they're wounded, they're dead, I don't know.
And they're taking pictures of the bodies or the wounded.
Exactly.
And you're trying to match that through what
through
you know
facial
and
recognition.
Through artificial intelligence as well.
Correct. So we used human intelligence as well and technological intelligence. In fact, what was nice to see in this space is that people coming from the academia hooked together with people who are practitioners, which rarely is happening on a daily basis. And in fact, they created softwares and I would say good algorithms that do not exist anywhere because of this kind of integration between of the people. And yes, the idea is how through voice recognition, facial recognition, and other techniques of artificial intelligence, you are able to understand who's in the video. Like, for example, most of the video, it's not like a picture of you and me right now that you can take a video and we're standing like that and it's clean. Sometimes the face is unrecognized. Sometimes because of the blood, it's very hard. Sometimes because of the place, the angle where the video is taken, it's very hard to understand who you're talking about. So in fact, we were collecting 200,000 different videos. In fact, we were entering also and scraping 150 channels of Hamas and on Telegram. So through natural language processing, we were doing our analysis there as well. Everything together using technological tools, using human tools. All of them together basically was aimed towards understanding and interrogating the status of missing people.
That's just astonishing to think, number one, that that's technologically feasible, but that you put all of that together, and some of the algorithms that you produced were new. They didn't exist before.
Correct.
And all of this was done
by volunteering.
Immediately. By volunteers who had expertise in various fields and could put all this together.
Israel is a very unique country, you know, and I don't know many countries that you see the destiny, the collective destiny, the feeling that it's not only about you. It's you're part of a bigger picture. You're part of a community, and really the event was so traumatic and so tragic that it was so big, more than each one of us alone, that I think people just wanted to know that they're doing something good.
So by watching all of these videos, most people haven't seen these videos, and they're very gruesome.
They shouldn't see
gruesome. Does it frustrate you when you hear that there's such a lack of sensitivity in big parts of Western society, that they lack a basic element of human compassion, not even connected to the Israeli-Palestinian issue? You
know, I lived for 12 years in Seattle. I was a professor at the Information Society in the Information School at UW, University of Washington. And I'm pretty well, you know, I know the Western society, the American society especially, the academic society. What it was a kind of a heartbreaking as well to see how people who are basically, preaching for human rights, eventually when it comes to Israel, they in a way integrate the notion of anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism. And what we see now with all the data, with the increase of anti-Semitism all over the world, and as you said, with the intolerance for understanding what was happening here, the massacre, the things that were unhuman, I'm just trying to hypothesize what would America would have done if something in this magnitude of like 40,000 people, which is the same magnitude of what was happening in our country. Let's say people entered from Canada or from the South. I can't even imagine, but America would have been furious. America would have retaliated very strongly. We have the right to defend ourselves. As you said, it's the basic existential question that in a way we are now facing.
So the lack of response from the most educated elite university leadership, presidents of the best universities in the world, do you think they're subject to fake information, that they didn't see the issue clearly? What is going on here about, the key institutions of Western society?
So there are two things that I think are happening. One is the interpretation of reality. And again, I go back to fake news. The interpretation of reality is tilted, is biased towards, different arguments and narratives that are very far away from the situation, from reality. That's the first thing. Second thing, you have politics. When you look at the financial interest, the politics interest, of course, some of the university would not like to come in front and say, I stand for Israel, you shouldn't do that. Things that are essential, that are basic, because they want to maintain their financial and political interests. I'm saying that it's unfortunate, but that's the situation.
That's pretty cowardly, don't you think, from people who are charged with educating the next generation on liberal humanitarian values, Western values?
I think
this is the citadel of,
you're right,
and the future of Western civilization.
I think we'll have to ask ourselves as academia a lot of questions, as Western academia, a lot of questions about what was going on and how we basically reacted and addresses those questions. So, in other words, yes, you're right.
Where does the process stand now in terms of identifying people?
So we are left with around 35, 40 people, last people that are missing, and some of them are suspected of being hostages. But we passed all the data back to the security forces and with the algorithms. And I think it's time, for them to take over, and they are taking over, and they're doing a good job at this point. And trying to find the last people who are still missing.
I pray that all of the people are found, and I pray with all my heart that all of those people who are hostages come home quickly. And
Amen.
Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just so you know, we in the West, you strengthen us, and we want to do everything we can to support you.
Thank you, Rabbi.